bodies in motion. We laid our hands in mud and made bricks for a temple. Wrote our names in the clay.
Welcome back aboard. After surviving South Africa's wild east coast and slipping through the infamous Knysna Heads not once but twice, we find ourselves back at sea, riding out the final moods of the Indian Ocean. It's a little uncomfortable for sure, but nothing's stopping us now. Ahead lies one of the most iconic stretches in sailing history. First, we round Cape Agulhas, where the Indian Ocean officially gives way to the mighty Atlantic, marking the end of our epic crossing from Thailand to South Africa.
Far out, the Indian Ocean has got it all. Seriously, it's unpredictable. It's going from calm 1 minute to massive squalls tearing our sail apart at one point. It's hard work, man. It's been full on. Thunder and lightning, rain squalls. It's unpredictable.
Then it's the big one, the Cape of Good Hope, known for centuries as the Cape of Storms. It's a place of legend, shipwrecks and hard-won glory for sailors daring enough to pass it. With the Cape behind us, we'll make landfall in beautiful Hout Bay, Cape Town. Tired, salty and more than a little proud.
We are 29 nautical miles away from Cape Agulhas, the southernmost tip of South Africa. Very exciting.
I love these milestones. I love these like geographic location points that I'd kind of never heard of before in my life, and then suddenly discover and hear a bit about before we get there, and getting to those points and passing them, hopefully unscathed, and onwards to there will be Cape of Good Hope, and that is what a place I do know of. It's not the southernmost tip of South Africa. It's a really dangerous piece of coastline. Looking forward to passing that too. Overnight we had 15 knots at times. On the beam we're doing 6-7 knots. I think we had a little bit of current assistance as well, and it dropped out while Rachel was on shift and on met the engines. But since I've been up at the helm for the last 20-30 minutes, the wind has slowly picked up. We've got 8 knots apparent now, which is nice, and it's at about 100 degrees. We predict wind is saying it's going to continue picking up by sundown tonight. It'll be 15, 18, 20 knots. Thinking the wind's going to pick up soon, we may be able to knock the engine out. So while the engine's still running, I'm going to go make some water. Cape Agulhas.
This is a momentous occasion. We are right opposite the Cape Agulhas lighthouse, which means we're leaving the Indian Ocean and we are about to arrive in the Atlantic Ocean. Just like that, just like magic. Well, it wasn't like magic because there was a lot of sailing involved. But this is amazing. We have crossed an ocean. We've crossed the whole ocean. From Thailand to South Africa, the Indian Ocean, ever-changing moods. It's been beautiful. It's been full of life. And now we're saying goodbye to it.
So I'm going to celebrate with something. Yeah. And I've got 4 plums.
Oh my goodness, you're going to go overboard.
4 plums. Here you go. Take a pic of yourself.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Ooh. Well done us.
Good morning, troops. We are about 20 miles away from Cape Horn. We've got lovely sailing conditions, about 14-15 knots. Right on the jacksy, 180 degrees. We've got the sails winged, main out port side, the Noah out on starboard side. So we're on starboard tack for the main. We're ticking along at about 4 knots. I've been a bit conservative. We've had a reef in the main, one reef in the main for the entirety of yesterday. I got up for Declan's shift at about 1 AM. As I sensed the wind was picking up, the boat was going a bit quicker than it was. It went up to 11 knots apparent from about 6 or 7 knots apparent. I know that's not a big shift, but I decided to reef the second reef in the main because what's coming is a bit of a blow today, and I just didn't want to have us trying to put another reef in during the early hours of the morning. I don't know if I've made a mistake really, because it hasn't gone up any more since 1 o'clock, so 3 hours of steady wind. So I could have perhaps put it in during this shift. Conservative call, but you know, I may have to put another reef in yet, may have to go to third reef as the wind builds during the day today. So we've got another sort of 10 hours to go, I reckon, before we get into Hout Bay, Hout Bay.
So very excitedly, this morning we are rounding the Cape of Good Hope. I've come inside because out there it's blowing 25 knots. It's right behind us, so it's very comfortable, and it's quite apt of this area because it wasn't always called the Cape of Good Hope. When Bartholomew Dias, a Portuguese sailor, first rounded it, he called it the Cape of Storms, and he named it that because it's almost always windy here. Now the wind is going to be okay for us today, but that hasn't been the case for about 3,000 boats that have come a cropper here on the Cape of Good Hope, one of which was the Flying Dutchman, allegedly, which, if you believe the legends, can still be seen in certain conditions trying to round the Cape. So a little factoid for you: if you ever find yourself in a naval officer's mess and you have rounded the Cape of Good Hope, you're allowed to have your left elbow on the table. If you've also rounded Cape Horn, you can put your right elbow on the table. There's one more Cape, Cape Lewin, and we've rounded that. So what can we put on the table? A knee? A foot? I don't know. Do you know? Deus rounding the Cape in 1488 was a major turning point in global history. Up until then, the idea of reaching Asia by sea was more dream than plan. By proving there was an all-sea passage from Europe to the Indian Ocean meant spices, silks and precious stones no longer had to inch their way across land, dodging bandits, taxes and whatever politics were flaring up on the Silk Road. Europe now had a watery shortcut and promptly started sailing, trading and colonising their way across half the planet. Sadly, Dias perished in May 1500 when his ship, ironically, was lost in a storm near the Cape of Good Hope. As we got closer to our destination, Hout Bay, we noticed plumes of smoke rising from the headland. At first we thought it might be a wildfire, which happens a lot down here, but in Cape Town it can also mean something else. Often fires like these are started deliberately, usually as a form of protest. That was quite dangerous. I literally could not see a thing as I went through it. So,
Welcome to South Africa.
apparently that's quite common. You know what they say about journeys, it's the last 5 minutes, the closer you get to home, the more likely you are to have an accident, and that's certainly the case right now. This has turned into a washing machine. The wind is up to 30 knots, we are being blown all over the place. Going around the Cape was much easier. This is now where it's going to go wrong.
This time yesterday, it was not forecast, but this time yesterday they had 60 knot blasts through Cape Town. Not forecast. I was really anxious when I heard that yesterday, what was going to happen today, and we've been blessed. You know, and this, okay, we've got 30 knots here, and that's not ideal, but man, imagine 60 knots. We're trying to get into this marina. Would not be good. Gusting 43 knots now. Well, I don't think we can get into it like this, I have to say. I don't know. I'll send a message to the marina. So if you've got any thoughts, any special procedures, I was thinking of backing in initially. I'm definitely going to go down. I mean, I don't know. The angle of the wind, I think, is really important to how we get into it. I know they'll have staff there helping out, but man, it's going to be full on. Well, what a difference 5 minutes makes. It's like, what? Where did that go? And you couldn't see that from out there. You couldn't see the calm, how calm it is in here. You could not see that.
What's the wind now?
4 knots?
No.
It's got 4 knots.
No, it's more than that. It's more than that, surely. Is it not more than that?
4.7 knots.
Wow. Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's really good.
That was honestly one of the wildest entrances to a bay that we've ever been through. And it really didn't seem like it would be like this once you got into the bay. But what a difference, wow. We're just watching as the helicopters fill their buckets with water and then take them up the hillside. So the hillside was on fire and they've got big buckets on the helicopters putting it out. Just another day. Another day, another dollar. Unbelievably, or maybe all too believably, within minutes of tying up at the Hout Bay Marina, Mocha jumped ship to check out the resident seals. While her attention was elsewhere, she managed to fall in the water but swam to safety, wedging herself into a narrow, hard-to-reach gap under the pontoon. Moxie!
Very resistant.
Mox! You've got to come out.
Just as our buddy boat Excelsior arrived, having battled gusts of over 60 knots on their own approach, Ivan got to work unscrewing the wooden slats from the dock, one by one, to rescue a very soggy and thoroughly ungrateful cat.
Yeah, she's out! Silly cat. That's the thing.
You're welcome, Mocha. Welcome to Hout Bay.